Hello and welcome to Make Some Noise. We're going to make some serious noise today with Erik from Stereomud. How are you doing today, Erik?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you guys doing?
All
We're
right.
doing, we're doing great. So, Erik, I'll let people know right off the bat. Jamie is the one that suggested having you come on the show, and so I guess you and him kind of know each other. So, Jamie, let's start off. Why did you think Erik would be a great guest for our show?
Well, Eric and I have something a little bit in common. He worked with Corey Lowry, and so did I.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if Eric knows that. I worked with Corey. He recorded my band in 2007.
Awesome.
Yeah. You said you live up in the mountains. Where at, man?
I'm in North Carolina, just across the Georgia state line in western North Carolina.
Okay. Awesome, man.
I've got a place. I bought it back when Stereomud started. I've got a place on a lake called Lake Chatoog in North
okay.
Carolina.
Right on, man.
So Erik, I always love to ask people like you're the lead singer, but did you always start out as a singer, or did you start out playing the guitar and kind of become a frontman?
No, I always started as a singer. So I started in church choir when I was 4 years old. And there was a husband and wife team at the church that I grew up going to, that the wife kind of did the children's choir and the husband was responsible for the adult choir. And I wound up staying in choir into my early 20s. And they actually helped me. I auditioned, went to, I'm sure you might remember the TV show Fame.
Oh, sure.
Based on a musical high school with everybody was actors, and singers. There was a performing arts high school in Atlanta where I grew up, and they helped me put my audition song together. And I wanted to be an actor when I was younger, but I always got cast as in roles that involved singing. And I was like, And then about 14, 15 years old, I had a buddy that had gotten a drum set. I had another buddy that had a guitar, and we were like, well, let's jam. You can sing, you sing. And I'm like, okay. So it just started, and it kind of kept from there, So no, I never really picked up the guitar or anything else. Just was always a singer.
You would not believe how many guys I've talked to over years that have that same story. Tell me they started out singing in the choir. I mean, look at like the legendary Ronnie James Dio, known as
Absolutely.
The Metal King. Started out playing a trumpet and doing big band music. Stuff that you couldn't even believe he would do.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and so that had to be a great feeling that people early on just started telling you what a great voice you had. So do you think that encouraged you to eventually start writing your own songs?
Yes, I do. So the guys that I was jamming with in high school, it started off this cover band, just cover songs, because that's all you kind of do in the very beginning, figuring it out. And I remember the very first gig that I ever played was at a church youth group function.
There you go.
And I remember a lot of the set list. So we did Black Sabbath, Paranoid, and Crazy Train. Wow. Iron Maiden, Wasted Years. And then our fourth song in the set was Cheap Trick, She's Tight. And they shut us off. And I couldn't figure out why. I was like, we just played Black Sabbath and that was okay.
Right.
We're playing Cheap Trick, She's Tight, and you're shutting us off. Now, as I got a little bit older, 14 to 15, 16, I figured it out.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't understand. That was a happy song, but it was, and through those years, we started, tinkering with riffs and writing lyrics. And a lot of it started kind of, I think a lot of singers and writers, lyric writers, starts as poetry, storytelling, and then putting it, rhythmically and different things like that. And it just kind of spawned from there. And I was very fortunate, like you said, to work with, Corey Lowry, and I met Morgan Rose at a very young age. I think I was about 18 or 19 when I started hanging out with Morgan. This is long before Crawl Space, Rumblefish, into Seven Dust, and and all those guys. And the Atlanta music scene was huge in that, early 90s into the late 90s, and it continued. And there's always been a big music scene, but there was a huge rock scene back then. And I'm very blessed to meet a lot of guys that were not much older than I was, but old enough to have, you get a year or two under your belt, of touring and playing and writing.
Oh, yeah,
and recording.
for sure.
You learn a lot from those guys, and I was very lucky to have a lot of very great mentors through those younger years.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Eric, when you first got together with the guys in Stereomud, like when I listen to some of the songs, like it kind of to me, okay, you guys got a unique original sound. Like I can't really say they're trying to be like the next Sabbath. I would describe it kind of as an alternative kind of modern rock sound, but you got your own unique sound. Is that something the band set out to do, or just kind of the way the music turned out?
I would say, well, a little bit of both, but I think primarily it was just how it was. So you had a lot of various background in what we were doing. So our drummer, Dan Richardson, got his first record deal when he was 15 years old with a band called Crumbsuckers.
Wow.
And then later became Propane, and then later Life of Agony, where he and Joey Z started working together.
I love Life of Agony.
Joey Z and Life of Agony were touring with Stuck Mojo when Corey was in Stuck Mojo at the time, and Seven Dust. So they had been on the road together. And so that kind of sparked this whole, Corey went up to jam with them to see what they could form. And at the time I was in a band that had gone on tour with Stuck Mojo before Corey left with Dustin Lowry, the youngest Lowry brother.
I know him.
Yeah. So he was playing drums for me, but he's a phenomenal singer. But he was like, if you're singing, I'll play drums while I'll sing harmony. And it was awesome. And Corey had reached out to Dustin and said, I'm doing this thing with Joey Z and Dan from Life of Agony. We're looking for a singer. Who do you think? And he goes, Erik. And he goes, Erik's your singer. He goes, I'm not going to take your singer. He goes, I want to be a singer, Corey, and I can't be a singer if Erik's my singer. So you've got to take Erik. And I was like, hey, that was very cool of you to say, but I'm like, dude, you can do whatever you want to do, but he pushed him to audition. I went and, auditioned for him. And in fact, the first songs that we did wound up making the record were Old Man and Lost Your Faith. Wow. Both those were demo songs that wound up making the record year and a half, almost 2 years later when the record came out. But it was, I think all our different backgrounds, from where we came from, we used to joke. Corey said it great in an interview one time. Half the band was from New York, half the band was from Atlanta. It was like, it was where Stereo and Mud came, Radio City Music Hall and Georgia Red Clay, right?
Okay.
But he said, you guys like bagels and we like grits. And for some reason it works together, I mean, it was kind of how it broke down. But it was just, I think we always tried to work under the premise of any song we were working on had to be undeniable, had to feel undeniable to us. Every part had to feel right. We weren't afraid to rewrite stuff and try to make each song its best.
Yeah.
My band, when I worked with Corey, we actually brought a song to him and we rewrote it in the studio. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised when you say that. No doubt.
I believe it. I believe it.
No doubt.
Corey is probably, first off, it's hard to be anything involved in music in the rock scene and not have associated with, known, worked with, or familiar with a Lowry. I'm either Clint Lowry, Corey Lowry, both the Lowrys, or even their youngest brother, Dustin. They're just a phenomenally talented, family. And with a passion for music. Corey said it. We did Farm Club. You guys remember that TV show that was on after wrestling?
I do not remember that, Erik.
It was hosted by Matt Penfield, who was a DJ on MTV. And it came on after WWE or WWF, whatever it was at the time.
Right
and
on.
It would spotlight music in general, but it always did an unsigned or an up-and-coming artist. And we were on one of the episodes. And in Corey, when they were interviewing Corey, they're like, what do you see, what will you be doing in 25 years or 30 years? He goes, music, birth to death. I'll play music. I don't know what else I would do. And that's a fact about him. And I think any musician, it's always going to be a part of us.
Yeah.
And
look where he's at now. He's with Seether.
Absolutely. Couldn't be happier for him, man. What a great fit. And I mean, the new material since he's been in the band is just as phenomenal. I mean, I was a fan of Seether long before Corey was a part of it, and he was always, he was playing guitar when we were writing. Of course, he played bass in the band. Right. He was a bass player by root and foundation.
Right.
But he could play guitar, and he, was always writing. I mean, he's very talented. All of them are.
Yeah.
And Erik, you mentioned Matt Pinfield. I was curious if you knew that he'd suffered an awful stroke last year.
I did not know that. I'm sorry to hear that.
I guess his son has taken over, taking care of him. But yeah,
he's a survivor, man. He's made it.
Survivor.
I'll tell you what. When I met him, he was one of those. He was like an encyclopedia of he was like Wikipedia of music.
Yeah.
Like, when I met him, of course, Corey and all those guys had Life of Agony and Stuck Mojo and had done a lot of things. Yeah. I had local bands that had toured regionally, but nothing big until Stereomud on a national scale. And he was like, I know you had a band called Belt Fed. You opened up for Stuck Mojo. I'm like, how the hell do you know? How do you know that? This isn't the days of Facebook and internet and everything, right? Where I'm saying where it became global. It was all word of mouth. I mean, he was dedicated to knowing the backstory on everybody and everything music related. I mean, he's a great person. And I hate to hear that about him. I keep him in my prayers.
Now, that's how a guy like that gets a job on MTV,
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you're a great lyric writer, great vocalist, man.
Oh, thank you.
I remember, I think it was it a Concrete Music? You remember when we got those cassette tapes, the record store?
Yeah.
I remember Stepping Away was on one of those. And I'm like, who is this? This is great. And then I actually seen you guys. I live in South Bend, Indiana.
Okay.
I remember you guys came through. You might have toured with, did you tour with Seven Dust? I thought maybe.
Did.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we did.
I thought you came with Seven Dust to a place called Heartland here in South Bend, which is no longer around. But I remember seeing you guys then. Little did I know, years later, my band, we were sponsored by Jägermeister. I was in a band called Signal. Little did I ever know that I would end up in Atlanta working with Corey on 2 songs.
That's awesome.
Just never know. It's pretty cool. But I've always had my eye on you since Stereomud. I'm like, I'm wondering what that guy's doing, man. Because you were just a great singer, man. Great lyric writer. One of my favorite bands. And that's when Jason, I said, we got to get this guy on.
Jamie, that's the reason I have you as a co-host here, because that's the next logical question. So, Erik, tell us what you're doing now.
Yeah.
So I've got a group of guys I jam with. We call it My Therapy. So where the name came from was, guys have poker nights or have a guys' night out, watch football or whatever. Well, for us, it was get together and jam, so once or twice a week, we get together in my basement. Guitar rigs and bass, everything's set up in my basement at my house. So we'd get together and we just called it our therapy. We're like, we get together. No, we learn covers. We write stuff. We play Stereomud. We play some of my other bands that we've done just for fun, and then it just kept growing. And then we started getting more into just writing original stuff and having fun. We've done a few shows. No aspirations of record deals or going on tour or do anything crazy like that. I've got, my kids are grown. I have grandchildren now. So
I get it.
I love it. I love playing though. I love to still write. I think,
you may be retired, but you're still young enough to get up there and do it if you really want to do it.
Oh, I love doing it, and I still see peers of mine that I toured with, the Disturbed guys that I'm good friends with that, are still out there killing it, and proud of them. And Seven Dust, of course, and watching them explode. I wonder where a lot of the new metal, which is what it's called, genre, because I laugh. Earlier in May, I posted it was the 25th anniversary of Stereomud's Perfect Self album coming out.
Right.
I'm going to put that up. And I thought that was cool. And I'd gotten invited to join these New Metal Army and New Metal for Life and all these pages. And I'm looking at them going, hundreds of thousands of followers. I'm like, where was this when it was active and we were going? I wonder what it would have done for the genre had it been there. And everything happens and everything's got its time and place, but I look at like what's going on with the new Seven Dust and how it's exploded. And I laugh when I see these kids posting like this new band Seven Dust. I'm like,
jeez.
I'm like,
new band. Late 90s, dude.
I'm like, come on, guys. They've been around since 98, which is probably before you were born, and they're still killing it,
Yeah.
But No, it's doing that. And I'll do it as long as I tell the guys all the time, if you got something that you can't make it, or there's no pressure. It's all meant to be for fun and just write. And
that's kind of the way I am too. For years, man, I tried to make it and I was in a band. We got to make it. And, you just put so much pressure on yourself and you lose sight why you're doing it. And you lose sight of having fun.
Yeah.
Jamie, you're still out there doing it. And so that's what
I am.
Counts, and I mean, you're out there opening for national acts. So it's not like you're just some guy standing on the corner.
Right. Well, like I said in the last interview, for where I'm from regionally, I live in South Bend, Indiana. There's no music industry here. There's no. Right. So for me, playing a theater, opening for, Puddle of Mud, or I'm opening for Black Sun Cherry in August, Eric.
That's awesome.
I'm 54.
I love their drummer.
Oh, dude, John's phenomenal, dude.
Yeah, he is. He's a maniac.
On their very first tour, their very first day of their tour, I'll never forget. They were young and they were scared. They're like, we don't know what it's going to be like out there. Now they're killing it, man. And I'm going to see him. I go, hey, man, you remember me? It's like, I'm the guy who didn't make it, but I'm okay. I'm the guy who still gets to open for nationals because of the connections I've made through the years and I still get to make, I have my own studio in my house. I record my own music for fun.
That's awesome.
I have 2 original bands, a cover band, and I do solo acoustic stuff too.
That's killer.
You can, man. Do it because you love it.
That's exactly why I do it. There was a period of time that we had quit and we started back up about 6 or 8 months ago. And it was, life gets in the way from time to time. Actually, I wrote a song called Life Gets in the Way. But it was, the bass player that was playing, his daughter had started playing travel basketball and he was having to be gone more to, to help her do that. And the guitar player, had this stuff going on. And the drummer is actually the music director at a church. And he was getting more involved in that. And it was like the band was kind of, I said, guys, again, no pressure. But after a handful of months of not doing it, that we all started calling. They were like, I'm kind of bored, man. I feel like I need to play in a rock band. And
yeah, it's kind of funny when you're the older guy in the band. Like my guys are younger than me, and they got families and stuff like that. And it's like you said, life happens, and back in your 20s, you'd be like, man, you ain't serious. You're out. You're fired.
Oh, dude. In my 20s, it was, where are we going? I'll burn my house. Let's go. I don't care. I mean, it was, you get a little older and you're like, nah, I gotta actually make some responsible decisions from time to time.
About life, Eric, and having grandkids and kids. What was that experience like? Your kids or even your grandkids seeing like dad or grandpa like in an old music video he had out, or
every one of them's watched it. So the band that I have now, My Therapy, we did a music video, and my oldest daughter is in the video. She's the female star in the video.
Okay.
And this is prior to her having her son, my grandson. And we've shown him the video, and he's like, look at, what is mom doing? What is mom doing? Look at grandpa. Look at, and he thinks that, he just thinks it's awesome because he doesn't put it together. Because when I show it to him, it's on the television, it's on the TV.
Yeah.
I just pull it up on the YouTube app, but he's like, what is this? But they think it's great. So now when they're over here from time to time, they like to come downstairs and play on the drums. Because that doesn't surprise me. An instrument you get to beat on.
My grandson
wants me to turn the PA on and turn my microphone on and let them sing into it, or they just kind of scream into it and think it's hilarious.
Right.
So, I'm like, I'm gonna have my own little band of, kids to watch, grow up and start developing, playing music.
Yep. My grandson's like, I'm gonna play in your band one day, Papa. It's like,
hey man, come on.
Let's go. So is your newest single with My Therapy, is it The God Will Set It Straight?
Yeah, we're doing a lyric video for it right now. Dude. Thank you. It's, you know what, dude, and not to be political or anything like that. When I was writing that, it was kind of one of those, and I'm sure you've had this as a writer. Sometimes songs take time, right? You develop, you go back. Sometimes, by the grace of God, it flows start to finish, and it's like, I don't even know where that came from or how I did it, right? It just happened.
Yep.
And that one lyrically started and ended almost in less than an evening. Done. It was an idea. I had a riff in my head, and it was put together, and I felt like it wasn't a political statement. It's not even necessarily a religious statement. It's just, although it is, and just, but I felt like it was perfect for the times.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's real good.
Thank you.
Well, and let me ask you, Erik. Now that you're at that point in life where you're still kind of doing it and doing your musical thing, but like you said, you're kind of semi-retired. When you look back on your career, like with Stereomud, is there like a point in time in your career, like a moment where like, okay, I feel like this is a time where we've made it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'd say there were a number of shows that we were blessed to be a part of. Music is a Weapon with Disturbed was about 53 dates, I think, North America and Canada. And we walked out into a lot of them were arena shows, or outdoor venues, amphitheaters. And to stand on that and to have 10, 15, 20,000 people screaming pain back at us. Going into Lost Your Faith and having them march in a circle and having a mosh pit bigger than I could have ever imagined. I remember one show in particular. I want to say we were in St. Paul or somewhere in the Excel Arena, and they had pulled the rubber mats up off of the ice.
Oh wow!
Lifted them over their heads, and kids got on top of them. It was coming from the back of the arena.
Oh wow!
I just remember the look on security's face, like I don't even know what we're going to do when they get here. Like it looked like a tidal wave of people surfing on top of this rubber mat, and then you could see the pit forming on the ice where people were running and sliding.
Oh my god!
And it was the greatest vantage point to watch people enjoy what you were doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love doing what I'm doing, but it's a single dimension for me. I'm looking out at, but I'm seeing it through everybody watching us do it and watch their reactions and watch their face. And those were probably some of the greatest. Performing live was my favorite thing. I adore being on stage in front of people, being a front man, connecting with people. That experience, every show, try to make every show as unique because every crowd is different. Every individual is different. Songs speak to everybody differently. And people used to ask me what, say, a particular song meant. And I would flip the question on them and say, well, what does it mean to you? What does the song say to you? Because that's what it means. What I wrote it about and how you interpret it can be two different things, and neither one of them are wrong. It's all how it makes you feel.
And that's got to be a great feeling, Erik, when somebody listens to your song and it means so much to them. But because I've had people tell me that often, talking about the inspiration or interpretation of a song, like fans come up to you and tell you what the song means to them, and you're like, wow, it's not even what it's really about, but wow, the fact that you got that out of the song, wow,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is so beautiful about music. It's how it can impact people and everyone differently. You could play the same song for 10 different people and they'll all have their own interpretation.
All different interpretations. I'll never forget a little story, Erik, for you. When I went down to Atlanta and I recorded with Corey, he wanted to use Morgan's drum set. We actually went to Morgan's house and I rode with Corey in his car. And he told me, man, he was like, Stereomud was my favorite band. He said it broke my heart when the band broke up. I was like, man, really? Because I talked to him about it. I was like, man, I love Stereomud. That was one of my favorite bands. When I met him, I told him that. And he was in Dark New Day at the time, and he told me, and I was like, man.
It broke all of our hearts. It was, and that was the entire business side of what goes on.
Right.
And I don't know if he got into it with you. So
he didn't really tell me what happened. If you want to tell us.
Sure. I'll make a long story short. When we got signed, we were on Loud Rock Columbia, right? We were on a label that was a subsidy of Columbia Records. It was a predominantly hip hop album. It was Wu-Tang and Exhibit and all of those artists, and we were the only rock band on the album.
Oh, wow.
Because they wanted to get they wanted a rock band. Rock was blowing up. It was doing very well, late 90s, early 2000s.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And they picked us and they signed us. They gave us a phenomenal record deal. We had a great push. We had a street team. On our first tour, we had a Suburban wrapped with my picture on the whole hood, driving to every concert, handing out free, CD samplers, Perfect Self samplers.
Right.
And everything. I mean, it was awesome. They were using the hip hop mentality of street team and promoting a rock band. And it went really good. Our album debuted Perfect Self debuted #1 on Billboard on Heat Seekers. And it was awesome. And the road was running. Skip ahead going into our second album, the record label, they sold it. They got out of it. So we were no longer. So we got rolled into Columbia proper. So our A&R guys no longer are part of it. It doesn't exist. Our marketing team doesn't exist. We're now part of an entity that didn't sign us. An artist, an A&R guy signs a band because they love the band and believe in it, not somebody that gets appointed to you.
Right.
So we had written Every Given Moment. We should have named it Not Gonna Be Given a Moment because we were dropped as fast as it was done and put out.
Yeah, both albums, man.
It was a shame because I thought we wrote a solid sophomore record.
You did. You did.
It was. I thought it was a great progression to what the first album was because. We went from being guys in a rehearsal space in New York City, and writing and playing all the little clubs in New York and New Jersey and Long Island and all those and doing showcases, to then being a seasoned band that had toured for a year and a half, almost 2 years, hundreds of shows under our belt. Lots of tours, big, small, and we were ready to make that next leap. I think Corey felt that way, Joey, John, and Dan, and we all did.
Yeah.
The album got released. Album #2 debuted #1 on Billboard also on Heat Seekers.
There you go.
No sooner than it did that, we were offered, I want to say, Corey would maybe remember, I want to say Godsmack reached out to us to go on a tour opening for them. Wow. And the record label said, that's not the tour for you.
What?
We're like, huh?
Right.
Then, and I may have them backwards, then it was Stone Sour. We were going to do a co-headline run with Stone Sour.
Oh, my God.
Record label said, that's not the tour for you guys. And we were like, what the? And I think Dan and our manager finally got down to brass tacks that they weren't going to give us any tour support. We weren't going out to tour the record.
Right.
So we all went home. And easiest way to get out of a record deal, band break up.
Oh, wow. So sorry to hear that, dude.
It was a shame. I wish, none of us were happy about it. I mean, I'll tell you, I spent the next year miserable about the shit. I mean, it was, but we all kept playing. I had a band shortly thereafter, got a very small indie deal called Dangerous New Machine. We toured a bunch and put out a record, and I'm very proud of that album. I produced that record and with Rusty Cobb, who actually worked on a Seven Dust record. He's in Atlanta.
Nice.
And Billy Gray was my guitar player. He actually plays guitar now for Chris Jericho and Fozzy.
Oh, wow.
So he's one of the two guitar players. He's been playing for Jericho for a long time. Phenomenal guitar player. And, and we did that, but then that band kind of came to a head. Billy got the offer to join Fozzy. I thought it was ridiculous not to. Chris was going to pay him very well to come play guitar. Right. Go do it, better than struggling. Unfortunately, bills do come on the 1st to 15th or whatever in the month. Right. They keep coming. They don't stop just because you're not making money.
Right.
But it was, and it's funny, about 3 months ago, John Fataruso reached out to me and said, you want to open for Korn in California? And I was like, and for me, it was early morning. And I was like, huh? What? And he was like, Stereomud reunion, open for Korn. You want to do it? I'm in. And then Corey chimes in, I'm in. And Dan, I'm in. Joey, I'm in. And then we had to have let him know. So the hint has been put out there that we will reunite at some point.
That's awesome.
And I, but Corey's got his obligations with, and unfortunately, like Seether had tour dates, so it wasn't going to work for him to do it.
Yeah.
Joey was going to be in Europe with Life of Agony, or maybe with his cousin. I'm not sure which one. He was going to be gone, so we weren't able to put together a time frame to work it out in time to say yes. And it was a festival that Korn was headlining. It wasn't a touring with Korn. I think our old booking agent was just trying to throw them at us to go, it'll be a big show if you guys do it. I'm like, okay, well, but we've all agreed that if the opportunity is right, we would reunite to do it.
That's awesome.
I'd be happy to. I'd love to. I've seen them all over the years. From time to time, run into Corey. Dan, I saw about a year and a half ago. Dan's in Florida. I'm in North Carolina. He was up this way. We met for a drink. Joey, he called me out of the blue, and he's the same Joey Z as Erik. How you doing? I love you. John and I talk on Facebook. He just moved overseas, but we talk on Facebook, which is a beautiful thing about the internet. You can stay connected to people you not necessarily live right down the road from.
There's a fellow Hoosier that lives here in Indiana in Warsaw. His name's Josh Statler. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, he was a bass player for Double Drive.
Right.
I absolutely know who he is.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love both of those albums, man.
Absolutely. We took them out on the road we took Double Drive out on the road with us. Yeah, we were huge fans.
Yeah.
Donnie's a phenomenal singer.
They
were a great band. Mike's a great drummer. Again, it's one of those things, some of the greatest bands, I think, are not the ones that have necessarily sold, tens of millions of albums. I mean,
Right.
I think about it. Seven Dust doesn't have, say, the platinum plaques of some of the big Disturbs or Godsmacks or whatever,
Right.
but none of those bands want to open for go on after Seven Dust.
Yeah.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody wants to walk on stage after Seven Dust. They're like, that's the act you don't want to follow.
They destroy it every time.
Hey, Erik,
Yes.
Jamie and I want to thank you for coming on the show so much, man. It was great.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We'd love to have you back on, but
Absolutely.
like you said, the interview is going to go probably in about a week and a half. We'll let you know when it goes up.
Okay, please do.
Thanks for coming on. Anything else you want to say to the fans before you wrap it up for the day?
No, I appreciate everybody, man. I mean, I've been very, very blessed in my life, family, my music career, the fans that have followed me from band to band to band and just been supportive. I feel very blessed to have been a part of a music scene and still a part of a music scene. I mean, you can see behind me, that's 8x10s of all the different bands and
Right.
everything over the years. My entire basement is memorabilia from touring and, just different things. And it's, I'm very blessed, man.
Yeah, you sound like it. Thank you, my friend. And we will definitely have you back on. Take care. Okay, Erik?
Absolutely. Y'all take care, guys.
All right, man.
Bye.
Rock on, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right.